For most American history, money wasn't something you trusted because the government said so. You trusted it because you could weigh it. And one law passed in 1873 that quietly changed this relationship forever. Good morning, it's today again. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph, and I store 20% of my income in the form of rare coins and precious metals. Today, I want to explain how silver was defined as money, what that law did to silver, and why understanding this matters if you're a stacker today. Congratulations to the channel's first two-way tie, aka Bradley and John Modern-Zajewski. I think I said that right. These two commented within the same second as soon as my video came out. Congratulations. If y'all want your name in the next video, make sure to get to the comment section first. Before we get to this law that changed our relationship with money, we need to understand how money worked before. In the early United States, money was based on metal, gold, and silver. The dollar wasn't an idea, it wasn't a promise, it was a specific amount of metal. For silver, that definition was incredibly clear. 371 and a quarter grains of silver was how the United States defined the US dollar. This isn't an opinion, it was written into law. This meant dimes, quarters, half dollars, and silver dollars all had a value based on their silver content. People trusted the money because they understood the weight and the purity. If you had enough silver, you had that much purchasing power. You didn't need a bank account to understand your money. All you needed was a scale. In 1873, Congress passed a law called the Coinage Act of 1873. On the surface, it looked like a technical update to the U.S. coinage laws, but buried in the details was a major change. The law ended the free coinage of silver. This meant that silver was no longer treated as equal money alongside gold. The silver dollar was removed as the standard coinage, and gold became the primary metal behind the U.S. money. This wasn't loudly announced, and most people didn't understand the impact right away, but over time the effects became very real. Before the Coinage Act of 1873, people could bring silver to the U.S. Mint and have it struck into dollars. This meant silver had a fixed monetary value. Once the act ended free silver coinage, the demand for silver dropped because private citizens couldn't turn that silver into legal money anymore. And as demand fell, the prices of silver on the market dropped. Farmers and debtors who earned money in silver now saw their earnings worth less in dollars. Loans denominated in the dollars became effectively harder to pay back because money that they had earned had lost its purchasing power relative to gold. Many Americans at the time were farmers who borrowed money in the dollars but earned it in silver through crops or their livestock sales. And when silver's market value dropped, their income was worth less relative to their debts, effectively increasing their debt burden. This caused tension and gave rise to the free silver movement of the late 1800s. People wanted silver reinstated as legal tender to inflate the money supply and reduce their real debt load. By eliminating silver as a freely coinable dollar, gold became the primary backing for the currency, concentrating economic power in the hands of banks, creditors, and those who controlled gold. Ordinary people lost a simple way to convert metal into money, meaning that they had less direct control over their savings and daily transactions. However, at first, daily transactions in silver were pretty much unchanged. People still used silver coins for decades. Dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollars remained 90% silver until 1964. So for buying groceries, paying wages, daily commerce, nothing changed immediately. But the invisible effect was the real value of money started to be disconnected from the silver, meaning that the government policy and banking decisions had more influence over the purchasing power than the metal itself. Silver coins no longer guaranteed a fixed claim to wealth. People's money became trust-based, backed by the government instead of physical silver. This shift is how modern fiat dollars work the way that they do. Their value is based on the confidence in the government, not the intrinsic weight of the precious metal. Understanding this history helps explain why silver has intrinsic value. Even after it lost its official role as money, silver remained universally recognized, portable, durable, and scarce, qualities that fiat cannot replicate. This shift became known later as the Crime of 73, not because it was illegal, but because many believed it was deceptive. Severing that tie of real money and silver is what eventually led to the government taking away gold coins in 1933, removing silver from circulation in 1964, and eventually completely removing the dollar from its gold backing in 1971. This history explains something crucial. Silver didn't fail as money, it was replaced intentionally, and the metal itself didn't change. It didn't corrode, it didn't lose usefulness, it didn't become more abundant overnight. The system was changed. For stackers, silver represents historical money, stored labor, limited supply, and global recognition. It's about saving the old way. Think about it. Your grandparents or your great-grandparents used silver as money. That means that their version of building a savings was no different than the way we stack today. Put aside as much silver coins as you can, as often as you can. This is why experienced stackers don't obsess over short-term price moves. They understand silver isn't just an asset, it's a reference point. It reminds us that money used to be defined by reality. Stacking silver isn't fear-based, it's just history-aware. The Coinage Act of 1873 didn't end silver's value, it ended silver's role by definition. And once you understand that, silver starts to make a lot more sense. You're not stacking speculation, you're stacking something that existed before the modern system and will definitely exist afterwards. Who knows, it might even be the basis of our next money system. So next time you see one of these old coins, this aged cheddar as I like to call it, be reminded that this is what the real value was. This is what the real value is. This is real money. To the point that our ancestors, not even just the ones a few generations back, but long ago, even in ancient times, our ancestors worked for this money. They spent this money. These coins was their livelihood, how they paid rent, how they bought groceries, how they saved up and stored their wealth, or saved a large amount for large life-altering purchases, much like how many of us do today. If you liked this video, make sure you go down and give it a thumbs up. Comment any comments or questions down in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video to anyone you think might like it. But most of all, thank you so much for watching, and just remember, every ounce adds up, so no matter how small, just keep stacking.